Shut up and sit down.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, oh my god, an amazing episode of the Con and Bob podcast. Look at our beautiful faces if you're watching on YouTube. We're both here.
Look at this. Look at this.
What? We're both here. It's actually pretty cool. I'm super happy that we finally got video here. But for those of you that are listening, say, over on Podbean or wherever, then thank you very much for tuning in and listening today. I've got my buddy, my pal, Bob with me, of course. How you doing, buddy?
Hi.
You can wave to the camera now. Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm excited. This is big stuff for, obviously, us and the pod and the Con and Bob podcast, which is available on YouTube.
Just Mr. Plugging over here. Every time. Just plugs his stuff. Hey, where can we find you on Twitter?
On Twitter, you can follow me at Bob's Wrasslin, BOBSRASSLIN. And you...
Oh, I'm at Conman167. There you go. CONMAN 167. But with that out of the way, we're going to completely switch gears 180.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's go a little more serious.
Yeah, because we obviously we have fun here on the podcast. We like to talk about things and joke around. But one thing this week that we haven't really, or that we definitely can't joke around about because it's a very serious matter here. Roman Reigns, Joe Anoa'i, yeah, man, it's so tough to see a superstar or anybody get terrible news, and especially the news that he has leukemia. It's just so sad. Again, the fact that he beat it once or put it into remission once when he was at the age of 22, and he's been dealing with that his whole life. I just feel so bad for the man. He goes out there in the ring all the time, leaves it all out there for us, and I get well soon, Roman. Like, please come back. We want to see you back in here, champ.
Yeah, I didn't watch Raw live, so I had already heard about it. It was obviously not.
It was devastating.
Any easier? Yeah, it wasn't any easier watching it after I already knew about it. It was sad. A lot of sad moments, obviously, throughout his speech. Hopeful moments, obviously, and like, you know what, thoughts really with him and everything. Really
good thing about Roman Reigns there is the dude is such an inspiration for so many out there that he's the one who received obviously this terrible news, and he's the one being a rock for so many people out there saying like, I will be back, I'll beat this thing, I'm gonna be stronger than ever, don't you worry. Like, the fact that he continues to be a rock for all these fans while going through probably the toughest time of his life is incredible. It says so much about the man.
Yeah, and it was very interesting to see how, like, immediately he comes out, he's being booed, you know, classic Roman being booed. And then he reveals this, like, truth. And it was nice. It was relieving, because you and I are fans of him. Of the man, of the wrestler, as the performer that he is. You and I are fans, and we've said it for a long time. But a lot of people like to rip him apart, like to just boo on him constantly. And it was really nice to see, him say, regardless if it was good or bad, whether you were cheering him, booing him, you gave him a reaction, and he was thankful and happy about that. And he appreciated that. And then as soon as his, like, honesty came out about leukemia and everything, you saw the shift in the fan base, in the stadium there, and realize, oh, this isn't Roman Reigns that we're booing. This is real the life. Man, Joe, that we need to show our support. Yeah. It was just nice to
it was nice to see the
that
audience.
Support come
yeah,
through.
Like when you think about the WWE audience, you tend to have very volatile people, right? People who get angry over the smallest of things and who take it too seriously at times. But that moment there when you realize that this was real life, the fans shut up. They listened to the man speak, and they showed their respect to Roman Reigns. It doesn't matter if you've booed him in the past. Everybody at that very moment knew that this was real life and that we care about this person. It was shown there. We care about the wrestlers we watch, and we care about the actual human being behind it. And just, I want to say right here, Roman Reigns, you're going to be back in the ring. I know you will. You're a tough son of a bee, you know? You're going to be back, man.
And even more so, like, seeing the characters kind of break a little bit throughout the night, like Paul Heyman coming out, and he was, you could see, physically emotional and affected by it. And then Braun Strowman again later in the night as well.
Seth Rollins crying at the start of the night.
Yeah. That's the part. Honestly, that's the part that broke me. Because like Roman doing his thing was sad. Then coming out, seeing Dean try not to break as well. Like seeing Dean try to stay strong was hard. And then watching Seth just let himself break. Was
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was tough.
I can't even imagine, you know, your literal best friend in the entire world, right? The guy who you travel around with all the time, you've shared countless beers with, right? Like, you know this guy, you probably know his family, and I just can't imagine how hard it must be for the family as well. For the friends and family, like, it's hard on us fans who we only get to see a little snippet of him. I can't imagine the people who know him personally. And
well, you heard a lot of people talk about it, right? Like Corey Graves was another one that
Corey Graves broke my heart.
They got, like, that's the thing. I saw the Seth stuff and I was like, that was already put me in a place. And then hearing like Renee talk about it was fine. Like I was like, yeah, no, I get that. And Michael Cole and whatnot. And then as soon as Corey spoke, and he's like, my kids play with his, and you could hear it in his voice. And Corey's the heel, right? Like he's the heel commentator. He's the best heel commentator in the WWE right now. But hearing him break as well, to just be like, this is a friend that is like, I care a lot for.
He's hurting.
That was tough to see as well. And yeah, Seth was hard. Paul Heyman, obviously. It was nice though, seeing like Paul still show his respects and be like, and kind of completely switch gears, right? Compared to 2-3 months ago, whatever it was, when he was saying other stuff against.
Yeah, I think at that point though, you like fans realize the reason why the sudden shift is because these are real people. They're not characters at this moment. And also when you're speaking about tributes, like, you know, Uso doing the little fist pump in the air on Smackdown when he landed the splash. Nice little tribute to Roman Reigns there. And so it was a good tribute overall from everybody in the WWE. I heard a very heartbreaking thing from Sasha Banks, that she said they found out the moment we all found out. Roman Reigns kept it very secretly, and he went out and delivered the news to the WWE Universe, and the people in the backstage heard it at that same time.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't know if you did you see the video of him going backstage and talking to everyone?
Yep, the video you're talking about there is on WWE's YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure, if you guys want to go check it out.
Yeah, it's that was a tough one to watch as well, that one. Because he went through and everyone is just broken inside a little bit. So it's yeah, I know it was an emotional week, obviously, but there was, thoughts, prayers, everything with Roman and Joe and his family and friends and everything like that. And obviously fans, all of you, everything.
And if you guys ever had, like, your own experience with Roman Reigns, say maybe you met him at like a fan meetup or whatever it may be, let us know your most amazing Roman Reigns story down in the comments. We'd like to hear it. I'm sure that there's some good that can come out of this, of this terrible news. We can see what a great individual Roman Reigns is. So, but with that being said, Bob, we do have a show to do here. We do have to cover Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown. We do
have to talk about other things.
So we're going to take a quick little transition here and talk about an upcoming event that has been filled with controversy.
Evolution.
Evolution we'll talk about for sure today because it's coming up, but I want to talk about Crown Jewel because a whole bunch of stuff has went down within the last 2 weeks. Obviously, you and me weren't here last week to discuss the Crown Jewel situation, so During that time, it went from WWE clearly going there, promoting the crap out of Saudi Arabia, to them cutting all ties to any mention to Saudi Arabia and question about the show being up in limbo. And then they had their meeting, their quarterly meeting today, where they announced, yes, they are going through with the Saudi Arabia show. And in the wake of that news, John Cena and Daniel Bryan are apparently pulling out of the show, two of WWE's biggest stars. So that leaves a massive hole at Crown Jewel. One of them being in the World Cup tournament, the other being for the WWE Championship. How would you go about fixing this, excuse my language, shitstorm of a pay-per-view?
Yeah, it's tough at this point because those are two of your biggest draws, right? Like, John Cena's massive.
Well, your championship match is booked around it. AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan.
Championship match, which probably wasn't going to be the main event, but it should have, especially with Roman Reigns not in that match.
Yeah, I get the Brock Lesnar. Yeah, I get the Brock
Lesnar. Yes.
Yeah.
No offense to Braun Strowman, obviously. It's just, if you look at the different things, it's what I'm curious about though is who faces AJ at this point.
That's what I'm curious about, because I don't know how they go about doing that.
And is that still a title match?
Here's the thing: at this very given moment, why not The Miz?
That's what I was going to say.
Why not throw just a little curveball here? Say you get to Saudi Arabia. If Daniel Bryan's going to refuse to do the show, he's still under contract. He still has to work storylines. He still has to work what you write for him, right? So you can easily write yourself out of this. Say Crown Jewel happens, and Daniel Bryan gets mysteriously attacked somewhere, on his way to the ring. They don't have to show him or whatever, right? Somehow, some report that he got attacked. I know it's not going to make much sense here, but just hear me out. Miz gets later on revealed to be that attacker because, of course, the Miz hates Daniel Bryan.
They could make it seem like it might have been AJ.
They could. That's what I'm thinking. They could continue playing the AJ who did it, AJ Miz. We just had a 2-month storyline of who attacked Aleister Black down in NXT, right? Why not try that up on the main roster? And if you really want to throw a curveball, you could easily do Miz versus AJ Styles. The story's there. They've had TV time together. And Miz doesn't even need to win the championship there if you didn't want to. But I think he
does need to win the championship.
I would like for him to win the championship, but he doesn't need to at that point. I say Miz wins
the World Cup tournament and the championship that night.
Just give it all to Miz. How about the tag titles and the new women's tag title as well? Why not, right?
Yeah. Him and Asuka.
There you
Team
go.
Asuka.
So, and with the John Cena one, I mean, he was announced for the World Cup. He's a big draw there for Saudi Arabia. He's there to sell tickets. He doesn't usually do much in the matches anyways. It sucks. I think he's an easily replaceable one. Daniel Bryan's the tough one to replace because your championship match is booked around it.
Yeah.
That's the only tough part there. But I think, as much as obviously Crown Jewel is such a money grab, there's so many things that are ethically wrong, morally wrong with it, with going there. I still think on paper, if you just look from a wrestling perspective, the card doesn't look bad. The card doesn't look terrible. No, if you take all the politics away from it, I do think we are going to get a decent show from Saudi Arabia. It just sucks that there's all this other stuff that goes with it. It's like, I wish we could just forget about all that outside stuff and watch the wrestling, right? Because it's going to be a fun show. As long as they don't promote too much Saudi Arabia stuff. Full on propaganda.
It's, I don't know what they're going to do. That's a tough thing because, it's just weird. Why did it have to be
money, man? Money
it's
talks.
Just why did they have to do that right now? And especially so close to Evolution.
Money.
And
40 million. Money. That's why. That's why Evolution was there to offset the Saudi Arabia stuff. It wasn't there to be all progressive for the women. As great as it is, it is progressive, but it wasn't brought in place to be progressive. They're just promoting it as being progressive now, right? That's the scummy part of WWE.
Yeah, how has that not been a over the top talking point at this point? is what I mean. Like, how are people just like, oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
Because,
wrestling Twitter, it doesn't let it get away that often, but I think the whole wrestling community doesn't really care. And you know,
it's weird.
It sucks. Wrestling Twitter likes to care about everything, right? They're caring about Apollo Crews losing, and they're caring that Elias picked up the win. Like, you know what I mean? Like they are invested in every little tiny detail that goes on in WWE on Twitter. But the whole wrestling community doesn't seem to care that much, and I think that's just so... It sucks for the woman, right? It sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I think the girls are going to steal the show. They are going to put on a fantastic show from start to finish, even if the card isn't that great.
They're bringing up some NXT for it.
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
right?
Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane is going to be there.
Yeah.
The Mae Young Classic Finals is going to be there. We are getting as much people are talking poorly about the 20-woman over-the-top Battle Royal. That's going to be there. You got the Riot Squad versus Sasha Banks, Bailey, and Natalya. Weird, but hey, they're all good workers. Obviously the 2 championship matches, Charlotte and Becky, and Ronda and Nikki. Like, it's a decent card. It's a decent card.
It's gonna be a nice card.
Yeah, it definitely could have been bigger. And of course, like, you know, the one question about the matchup is if, you know, Alexa Bliss is healthy enough to go, but Alexa and Mickey versus Trish and Lita. That's another big match.
Yeah, so that's another question that I had about Evolution is like I had heard that she was hurt, Alexa, but
rumored concussion for anybody wondering.
But is she not being like said no to because, like, what do you think? This is what I want to know.
Okay.
Do you think that she hasn't been like taken off the card yet to the community and to the viewership and everything because of one, like WWE doesn't want to remove her from the card and risk losing sales and pay-per-view buys and whatnot, or is it B, because they're hoping that she is good to go come Saturday?
Probably a mix of both. I think, you know, Alexa Bliss versus Trish Stratus is a dream match. Yes, we're getting Lita and Mickie James added into it to just kind of help along the matchup. So I think the fact that that is one of their dream matches that they have on the card, they don't want to lose that. It's kind of the whole selling point behind Evolution. There's not really any other stars from the past. So I don't think they really want to lose that on the card. They don't want to lose those ticket sales, especially since it's not sold out yet. So they're probably holding out hope that she's going to be good to go. I mean, with a concussion, you never know. She could be fine at the day of. If she isn't good to go, I totally see Mickie James doing most of the work and her getting like a tag in and then, you know, her tagging right back out, you know, just being the Weasley heel that she is, and maybe going in and delivering like her Bliss DDT and then tagging back out or something like that. If she's not good to go, I don't see them completely canceling the match, just because it is one of those matches.
So you don't think that if she's not good to go, you don't think that they replace her with Alicia Fox?
That's entirely possible, because it did seem like they were possibly doing that on Monday Night Raw, right? I think
they were teasing that a little bit.
I think it made sense because Alicia Fox obviously does have a relationship with Mickie James, you know, through being aligned with Alexa Bliss. At least it's a logical step in. But I think on terms of like how good the match goes from being able to be, it goes from being, you know, one of the standout matches on the card to just basically a showcase for Lita and Trish. And which kind of sucks. I don't want Lita and Trish to be stuck in that, oh, look, we're just here for 2 minutes and then we're gone. I'd like, you know, Alexa Bliss, somebody who's currently on the roster and is going to be a big part of the roster for the next decade, to get some heat or some rub from these two legends. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. Do you know how it happened?
No clue. I haven't really done that much looking into it. I saw that she was injured and I thought it was a lingering injury from her last one, and then I just saw like on another tweet that it was a concussion. I was like, oh, okay then. Fine.
That's unfortunate. Hopefully she's good to go.
It is. But man, what do you say? Do you want to roll through Raw and SmackDown here really quick?
Let's do it.
Let's just get right into this show. So obviously we started out with Roman Reigns. We are going to blow right past that because there's no analysis that we can do on it. We've spoke our piece. right? It's not a real wrestling segment, no analysis. Moving on to the start of the show. We had Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush come on out.
My man.
His man.
My man.
And he faced off against Finn Balor. Finn Balor picking up a roll-up win over Bobby, which I was surprised about.
The king of the roll-up.
The king of the roll-up. I was surprised about. But you know what? I think that kept both men looking strong. And obviously Lio Rush is annoying as hell, but what are your thoughts on this whole Lashley versus Finn Balor feud that we're starting to see move forward?
Yeah. Well, you know, you watched some of his old stuff back when he was Prince Devitt. He is the real rock and roll up. That was his name, Real Rock and Roll Up. I'm a fan of this rivalry. I'm a fan of the character that Lashley currently is.
Oh, me too.
Obviously, having Leo helps. Leo's.
Is it safe to say did Leo save Bobby Lashley's second run in WWE from being just as big of a failure as his first?
I still don't think it would have been just as big of a failure. And I don't think that his first run was that big of a failure until...
see, we're on the opposite sides then. Okay. All right. I
think that the second half of his first run was more of a failure. Basically ECW.
Really. Yeah. I forgot all about that. Oh
really
my God.
Butchered
the
it.
ECW Bobby Lashley.
But the first bit of his run was okay. And then they kind of just didn't know what to do with him. Obviously, I think it was potentially going to get to that same plateauing point where it's like, yeah, this guy's not really a world champion-esque caliber guy, and he's just this powerful, athletic guy. It's similar to that of like an Apollo Crews in the sense of like, this dude is stupid athletic, he's stupid powerful. We just don't quite. He doesn't have that character.
Yeah,
and
he didn't have the pieces to put together, right?
Yeah. So we'll see. But I think this heel character, obviously Lashley, going to impact and developing his character there more and learning this heel side of things. It was great. And like, why not have a jacked, super athletic powerhouse be a dick?
Yeah,
like that just
it makes sense
right?
to me. I mean, when you see the guy on screen, you don't necessarily really want to root for the guy.
Yeah.
He's jacked up and he looks like he could kill you.
Exactly.
That's not a guy I relate to. I'm a scrawny 165-pound dude. Okay.
Like, I don't understand the thought process. Like, I do in the sense of like, that's a hero, whatever. But that was like such 80s wrestling, whereas now it's been much more like it's David versus Goliath, right? Like, David was never the bad guy in that.
True.
So why are you trying to make Goliath the good guy?
That's a good point, man. That's a really good point for like all big men ever to grace the babyface role in wrestling. It's just like,
it's a weird role.
We don't want to root for you. You're almost 7 feet tall and you've got muscles on where muscles aren't supposed to be. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like even guys like Roman, guys like even like this Seth, Triple H, anything, those like still big muscular guys that aren't huge in height and size and all that, but they're still big muscular guys. When you match them up against like a Finn Balor, Daniel Bryan, and AJ Styles, we as fans still are like, oh God, like I want to root for the AJ Styles. I want to root for the Daniel Bryan. I want to root for Finn Balor because he's more relatable, because I'm not that monster. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the few people who are the monsters that would be watching it, sure, they're good to just watch and support Roman Reigns or Triple H or whatever. But we're like, that's not me, man. That's not, how am I supposed to cheer for that dude who's huge when this other dude that looks like me? Like, Daniel Bryan literally looks like me.
Hey, now, you need a little bit of my ginge, okay?
Yeah,
if you got my ginge in you, then you've got the Daniel Bryan look. Yeah. Okay,
well, but actually, I guess I could go with Elias. I can support Elias.
Elias, there you go. If you just throw a scarf on you, you are Elias.
Exactly.
Who wants to walk with Bob?
I'm a fan, though.
But let's move on to the next match that we had here, because let's not take up an hour and a half like we did last time.
Oh, no.
We had Banks versus Riot. And one thing I didn't know about this, I was listening to not right after wrestling, I was listening to Aftermath on Sportsnet TV. before Smackdown the other day, and I heard this little fact that I had no clue about. Ruby Riott has Sasha Banks' number. Sasha has yet to beat Ruby Riott in a one-on-one match. And I thought, what a cool little story.
Greatest female wrestler of all time.
I just thought, what a cool little story, because you don't get that very often, where you have one superstar who is leaps and bounds above the other in terms of where they are on the card. Sasha Banks is much higher up on the card in the terms of like the fans' eyes than Ruby Riott. You know, Ruby's going to get there one day, but as of right now, Sasha's up here and Ruby's down here. But Ruby keeps getting the better of Sasha Banks, and I'm waiting for that to be tapped in on. Why is Sasha and Ruby not a feud looking to be explored more of? So maybe that's something we get here now that we are getting this 3v3 match at Evolution. Maybe there's going to be something that stems off of this even more.
Potentially. I think currently in the WWE, when we're looking at those two women, I think Sasha is kind of stuck in this limbo area where they're not sure where to put her, because she's not quite your competitor to Ronda Rousey, but she's still a great worker. She's still great in the ring.
The thing is, I'm sorry to completely interrupt you there. The thing is, the reason, she could be on Ronda Rousey's level if they just turned her heel. She's not a natural baby face. She's a dick. She's a dick in real life. You know, that's from all the reports we've heard of how she interacts with the fans, she can be a real, you know what? Why not let that character out? Her character's literally the boss. That's a heel character. I think if they turned her heel, she could be a huge adversary to Ronda Rousey.
Well, here's the thing. Depending on, I never wish, obviously, harm toward anyone. Don't want, especially Alexa, because I love Alexa. But depending on how long Alexa's out for, it might open up an opportunity for another heel on Raw. It's just whether or not they go with Sasha, whether or not they go with a Nia Jax going back to heel, whether or not they just stick with the Bellas and whatnot. That's another interesting one though too, because I feel like where Sasha ranks currently, if you had to do a ranking system, I think Sasha's in the top 7 for sure.
I'd say top 5. Yeah. I'd give her top 5.
Yeah, probably top 5.
Well, let's think. Let's just think. What's top 5 here?
Ronda's your number 1, right? And then
Ronda's your 10, are we going
1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Are we going in terms of star power or in terms of actual best wrestlers? Are you talking star power?
No, not best wrestlers, because obviously.
So person with the most draw, right? Who could
not
draw the
even
most
draw. It's just kind of ranking system as to who deserves a title. Think UFC, who deserves a title shot next.
All right, so what are our rankings?
Ronda's your champion, and then obviously next is going to be Nikki, because Nikki's
she's the number one contender
right now.
Then so in the Raw division, you're probably going to look at.
I think Ruby and Ember are both up there above Sasha.
See, I would have Sasha ranked above Ember right now. Ruby and her are. I'd have Sasha ranked above Ember right now, just simply because of overall momentum. Ember's right there. It's just she doesn't have a meaningful feud yet.
But I just feel like she's won a lot of matches.
She has
against a lot of people.
Absolutely, and I do think
it's just kind of flying under the radar. It's like someone who's just consistently winning against solid people, and nobody's even touching on it because it's not a rival.
It's not a rivalry. I do believe that probably her or Asuka will win the 20-woman battle royal, and then the winner of that gets a number 1 contendership opportunity. I just do believe that as great as Ember Moon is, she is just that one step underneath, because you don't want to get her to the title picture too early, because as much as we've seen her grow through NXT, she is still relatively new to the main roster. It sometimes takes over a year on the main roster before fans even give a damn about you. They get excited when you debut and forget all about you because you don't have a character yet on the main roster. You're not established. It does take time. I mean, we're just seeing the AOP starting to get a good push, and they were called up as monsters It does take time for them to get used to who you are as a character on the main roster, and I think Ember Moon is going to fall into that category as well. I do think her time's coming. Probably by 2019 she'll be in a title feud, but she's just short right now. Just short, and I think that'll come soon, though.
Now, that said, I don't see any woman on the Raw roster beating Ronda Rousey for the title.
No, I don't either, and that's a crazy question. Who is it that's going to take it off her? Is it the dream match, her versus Charlotte? Is that where the title gets taken off her? Because
now, sorry, I don't see
worries.
any of them beating her, but in a triple threat match, I can see her dropping the title at some.
Yes, no one stays undefeated forever, so I do get that being one way.
But she also technically doesn't lose. Yeah. In a triple threat, like she's not the one being pinned, right?
Yeah, so like I do get that way of booking it. That would be a good way to book her first loss, you know, so it takes the sting away from the first loss a little bit, because we've noticed like over the years, whether it be Rusev, whether it be Asuka, if somebody goes undefeated for a long time and then that first loss happens and it's not done in the best of ways, you know, the transferable of heat or how like the feud moves on doesn't really work sometimes, and that's why their momentum just plummets. Like Asuka is now in a comedy routine. Rusev never recovered fully to be the Bulgarian brute that he was. He's in a comedy routine more or less with Rusev Day. So you got to be very careful with that with Ronda, that her first loss isn't going to sting the WWE crowd too much and take away that aura around her. But I don't think it's ever going to be fully gone because it is Ronda Rousey.
I think it's difficult they build themselves into this predicament because they build this powerhouse who all of a sudden needs to lose because nobody can win forever. And then you're like, shit, who beats them? Like, how do we make them lose? And no matter what happens, it takes away from this thing, because all of a sudden you're telling us for a year, 2 years, whatever, this person is a powerhouse. This person cannot lose. And then all of a sudden they lose. And it's not, we don't look at it like, wow, this person, especially if it's a face who's on that run, on that undefeated run.
Well, you just said it with Ember Moon.
Yeah. If it's a face who's on that undefeated run, then you're like, when they lose, you're like, oh, they just lost to a heel. Okay, they're not as good as I thought. Whereas, like, when it's a heel, then you kind of get that nice, like, oh, the baby face overcame them. But I digress. Whatever.
Very fair points.
Want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on. So we had the DX promo. I'm not going to stay long on this at all. There was nothing new, no new information delivered. DX returned. It was cool seeing their theme song pop up, and that's it. I'm excited for the match. I don't know what else to say, right? There was no new information, nothing new added to the build. I think the build is basically as excited as it's ever going to be, because the return of Shawn Michaels and the return of DX, and the first time ever of DX versus BOD, right?
I liked the little like nudge toward NXT.
Oh, so do you think, because I do think that this is going to be a very smoke and mirrors match. We've seen these types of matches before, right? We discussed that Triple H versus Undertaker was going to be a smoke and mirrors match. Because of all the smoke
that's involved in Undertaker's
exactly, right? He's always involved in those smoke and mirrors matches.
Yeah.
But do you think that some NXT people get involved or are brought into this match in some way, whether it be through the entrances, whether it be through maybe a mid-match run-in? I don't know. Maybe this is the start of Undisputed Era on the main roster. Is there something more to this constant NXT plugging?
Who, though, is my question.
Undisputed Era. That could be my only one I could see.
Okay. Yeah, they're
could be
basically the DX of this generation, like, kind of feel.
They're the DX NWO. They're our NWO, is essentially is what it is. They're the cool heel faction that everybody loves, and then you get great baby faces that go against them. That's
very
what they are.
Comedy based. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
That's what they are. So I could see them being involved, but I don't know if Saudi Arabia is where they bring it up, right? I can't see the reaction for that being over the top. So it just makes me wonder, is there going to be some more NXT stuff involved with this down the line? Are we getting then, a Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker build to a rematch, and then we get some Triple H with NXT? I don't know, because it's been brought up a lot, the NXT people. So I don't know if there's just something more to that, or if that's just me being a wrestling nerd and reading into it way too hard, which is most likely the case.
It's very possible.
Yep. Okay, so little thing here. Strowman's a face. We learned that now out of the blue.
Yes.
Paul Heyman's a god, and Brock Lesnar's a beast. Is that safe to say? Yeah. Are you excited for Braun Strowman versus Paul Heyman? Or versus, Braun Strowman versus Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman, the match that you all want to see. It's happening. Finally, they finally listened to us, the fans.
They gave us what we wanted. No, Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar. Obviously, it's the right call, right? It's the right call with Roman Reigns not being there. It's the right call not to add anybody else into it. This has to be Braun Strowman's chance to go over.
Right?
It can't go back to Brock, right?
Also, though, if Braun wins, he's undefeated in Saudi Arabia.
And if Braun wins, there's the natural feud versus Drew McIntyre.
Was it Saudi Arabia where the greatest Royal Rumble was?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's undefeated.
You know, it'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious if he comes out in the match with his green strap. I'm
here to trade this in.
Yeah, I'm here to cash in my Saudi Arabian championship. Oh my god.
After the match, he picks up the red and the green belt, and he just goes, "Merry Christmas."
There you go. Merry Christmas. Oh my god, there's nothing better. Right. That's what we need. We need this now. But yeah, Strowman, he better win. There's no reason why he shouldn't. There's no reason to put the title back on Brock. So I hope to God.
I wouldn't put the title back on Brock until Brock actually would win the UFC title.
I would put the title back on Brock in over a year at least. I think we need a year away from Brock at the main event level scene.
But if Brock goes back to UFC and wins the title within the next year,
I get that
for whatever reason,
you got to bring him back.
The title back on Brock for the right?
A dual sport champion. You know, even if it's for like a couple months,
huge.
It is huge. The amount of publicity they would get in ESPN. Of course, we'd cover them here on the Con and Bob podcast because you know it's the best damn news source there is.
Best damn source of news.
Yes, but anyways, I think logically after that would be Braun versus Drew for the Universal Championship.
Oh,
I think
that's a rivalry that I'm ready to see.
Yes, obviously though, if we're gonna get through the show, let's get rolling here. We had Elias versus Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews lost, which I thought was weird because
it was. Elias is great.
Elias is great. Yeah,
it was. Say it every time.
Elias was great. It just felt weird that it felt like Apollo Crews was going to get a push. You know, he had a good showing the week before. Sounded like he had some fire in him, and it felt like, okay, maybe, just maybe, they're going to give Apollo a little bit of a push here. 1 week later, kind of a boring match against Elias. Like, nothing stood out, right? Nothing to go backstage and be like, hey, I deserve another opportunity. You saw me go toe-to-toe. Elias, as great as he is on the microphone, he's not revered as, like, you know, an in-ring general, a top-tier talent, right? He's great on the microphone, one of the most charismatic people they have on the roster, but he's not an in-ring general. He's good, not great in the ring. So when he goes backstage and just says, you just had an okay match against Elias, probably not going to earn you too many more opportunities.
No, but jumping forward when he, is interrupted by Corbin, and Corbin's out there talking and stops him, and then he smashes the guitar on Corbin.
What a face turn. What a
right?
Face turn.
So is he face, or is this the start of a face turn?
I believe he's face simply because WWE lost Roman Reigns and they lost Dean Ambrose as their top faces in one night.
That's fair.
Two of the three people in the main event level scene are gone. Who's your most over people? Braun Strowman and Elias. They're faces now. That replaces them. So, yes, the one thing I'm really worried about Elias is in recent weeks, the way that he's gotten his segments over is he uses cheap heat. He loses that ability now. So I hope...
Yes, but you can kind of do the same thing the other way to get cheap.
You can. Yeah.
Face,
you
right?
can. Oh, he's going to...
Like,
and he's totally going to start...
this city!
He's totally going to start doing
funny.
That. It's going to be funny. He's going to have some good jokes, but I think this is where we're going to see exactly what we have with Elias. We don't know what we have with Elias yet in a babyface role. We know he can get cheap heat, but the question is, can he sell tickets? Can he be that main event level star who is charismatic, has a great gimmick, has a weapon? Because that, I think, is a huge thing for people to have a specialty weapon they can break out, out of nowhere, whether it be the sledgehammer, the baseball bat for Sting, or now the guitar. I think that's huge as well. It gives people a identification. So I hope he can succeed as a face. I think he's got all the tools. But yeah. I'm
just excited to see where my big brother Elias goes forward.
Yes. Okay. But anyways, yeah, hopefully it doesn't hurt his character. We then had the Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella segment. This is the Ronda I think we've wanted from the start, right?
Yeah.
The cool, calm, badass Ronda Rousey.
She's calm,
collected. You can literally feel the charisma oozing off her when she just holds that. When she's just in that ring, there's something about Ronda Rousey, isn't there? Where it's just like, this is a star. She may not be the best wrestler, but there's something about the star quality that you can't take away from Ronda. But I think she's starting to settle into her role. I hope that she's going to have a good match. I think she will. This is, once again, another one of those tests. She hasn't really failed us yet, so I don't know why I keep going in being a bit of a skeptic. Like, I don't know, is this the match where she's going to fail? It's going to be really tough to watch. I don't think that's going to be the case with this one, because Nikki's a very solid wrestler, and she is as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good match. I don't think it's going to be match of the night, but I think it'll be a good, fine championship match where Ronda rips Nikki apart.
Yes, and she has every right to do so now, because Nikki clapped back, that's for sure. Holy, she
Nikki's doing well too. She's doing real well.
And I just love the fact that they're just such slimy heels. They really are. So good. Okay, we had a quick fatal 4-way match here. Whoop de effing do. What the heck was that?
Which one, sorry?
The Fatal 4-Way Women's match. Yeah, the fact that you forgot it just shows how unimportant it was. How is this supposed to build to Evolution? How is this happening just mere days before your first ever all-women's pay-per-view event? Why is this Fatal 4-Way not being given time? Yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, Tamina's just brought back with
back.
Nothing. She was a SmackDown superstar, man. She's over on Raw now. No explanation. It's like when Kane showed up on SmackDown out of the blue. No explanation. He's back on Raw now. Like, it's storytelling, WWE. Consistency. Just tell us a reason why. That's all we want. But yeah, the match was terrible.
Tamina's back.
Yeah.
Tamina's back.
One thing I will say, though, with the short amount of time that they had, I was very impressed with that finish. Just the way the sequence worked. Tamina from a super kick immediately into the Eclipse. I thought that was a really nice sequence.
The kick did make Tamina look a little strong.
Oh yeah,
clean kick, just knocked down and essentially out Nia Jax.
I would argue that it was stars in the match. It went Ember Moon, Tamina, Nia, and then Dana Brooke. I think that was the...
Oh, yeah, Dana Brooke was in the match.
She was in the match, but she spent most of the time on the outside. I think she got hit and then thrown to the outside.
She got that roll-up.
That's right, she did. She did. Oh, that's a standout.
She did get that. Can't forget about that roll-up.
No, but anyways, that match wasn't needed.
Right, let's move on.
Yeah, anyways. I think that might have been the shortest 4-way match I've ever seen, to be honest.
It was quick.
And then, of course, though, I see the reason why they took away time from that, because we got this epic main event. And to me, this is how you book wrestling when there's real world stuff that has happened. You take a terrible tragedy that has happened, with the Roman Reigns leukemia, and you have two of his best friends in the entire world, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, competing for a tag team title. And you let the crowd think you're going to end the night on a feel-good night, because of all nights we could use it. We could use a nice feel-good story. The Shield wins the tag titles to honor Roman Reigns.
But instead of it being a feel-good moment,
Dean Ambrose, the biggest asshole in wrestling right now, turns heel of all nights on this one. And I love it. I love it. Oh, I don't know why people are so mad. If people are mad, you are getting worked. This is like, oh, we got it, man. We got the heel turn.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. From a wrestling standpoint, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Like
From like obviously the humanity standpoint, it's like, oh, WWE, you cheeky bastards, right? Like, because you're
but
like,
that's how you get people to hate you.
This was supposed to be nice.
Oh yeah, that's how you get people to hate you, right?
It's good though.
It's
like,
so good,
brilliant.
It really was brilliant. I mean, and I also read somewhere that the heel turn was not gonna happen until Roman Reigns dropped this news. That's why they booked Dean Ambrose this way. And to me, that just goes to show WWE still does know how to capitalize on fans' emotions, because the whole point of a WWE show is to draw out emotions from the fans, right? And as much as, you know, real world implications and all that, they do happen. Real life events do happen that some people are going to look on the surface and say, that is so scummy. Why are you doing that? Like you said, the whole humanity thing. But I guarantee you Roman Reigns loved it, and he had a giant smile when Dean Ambrose pulled the heel turn. Everybody in the business probably had a giant smile just because they know how good of a time that was to pull that heel turn, to execute that turn.
Also, little things. I really enjoyed that he hit the dirty deeds onto the tag belt.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, and it wasn't even, it was just so happened that that's where it was. Like,
yeah,
it's nice.
It's so nice.
I like it.
One question though here, we now have a bunch of unanswered titles. The tag titles are up in limbo. The IC title is in that feud as well. So what's going on with those titles, right? And then you also got the Universal title now without a champion. So Raw's, it's gonna have to lean on its women's champion here. It's got to lean on Ronda moving forward until at least.
And Ronda is the biggest star in, arguably wrestling.
She's up there for sure. I wouldn't give her the
Brock,
top.
Obviously,
I wouldn't give her the top tier yet, but I
would say she's the biggest full-time star.
Yeah. You know what? Cross appeal wise, for sure.
Because
mainstream markets,
because Roman's out right now, obviously,
and Brock's not a main
Brock's
full-time
not
guy.
a full-timer.
John Cena's not around, and Randy Orton's not crossover
and
enough.
AJ and Daniel are for us.
Yeah,
like they're not. Yeah.
We can talk about the wrestling favorites all we want, but the superstars are cross-platform, and you're never going to see AJ Styles on Jimmy Kimmel, right?
No.
So
speaking of AJ and Daniel, you want to dive into SmackDown?
Yeah, let's just jump right into SmackDown Live. I mean, we can go into that match, but that's a little bit later. So why don't we start off with the actual start? Big Show's back.
Fly through SmackDown.
Yeah, we'll fly through it. Big Show's back, man. We saw him make his return the previous week, costing the New Day the tag titles. I like this. With the bar. I think he adds like an imposing threat. You know, he evens the numbers game. What's up?
You know what I really liked was Big E just blatantly calling out Big Show, saying like, this guy flips and flops more often than a flapjack. Like,
yeah, that was funny.
We thought he was cool, and now he's not. Like, what is going on? I was like,
I love how the New Day, it's so Xavier Woods, isn't it? It's totally Xavier Woods, who's like this troll on WWE TV.
Yeah,
like
I think all three of them are. I think
they are. But Xavier's the one running that stuff. Like, his brainchild is the New Day. It's oh, it's just so funny to watch. No, it was so entertaining.
It was good. We got Big Show versus Kofi out of it. That was a solid, fine match.
It did its job. Kofi Kingston isn't any worse for wear after it, because you look at those two men and you say, yeah, you should lose, dude.
And you look through and just see, it was nice to just see them get annihilated, like for a minute, just because you were like, oh, okay. This is aggressive.
It also it makes the bar feel a lot tougher. You know, like the New Day essentially has always 100%. Had the bar's number, and it's always been, 3v2, and the bar has always been on the disadvantage. When you look at the story, the bar has actually been screwed over many times by the New Day in their historic rivalry that they have going on.
Yeah.
But the addition of Big Show, the bartender, as they called him, the addition of him into this feud, I think, makes New Day become the underdog baby faces again, which they haven't been for a long time. They've been the top tier talent, goofy, but elite level in the ring. And now, with the Big Show lurking at ringside, those numbers games are gone. And it makes the Bar really a bigger threat, and the fact that they're champions as well, it makes it tough to see that they're going to take the titles off them anytime soon.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, let's go on over to this match. We had the tag match rematch from the previous week. We had AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan facing off against the Usos. Like I said, they had a little tribute in there to Roman Reigns, the fist cock into the splash.
Well, midair,
yeah. That thing that he's doing in video. You podcast or you audio listeners aren't gonna have a clue what we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't see it.
He's like, I don't see it. But
I don't see anything.
Yeah, Usos are still
Open
fantastic.
your eyes.
Usos are still fantastic, and
They're amazing.
Bryan and Styles, I think this feud is starting to pick up, which is good.
Really smooth too. That sequence of the Pele that AJ hit, just like that whole almost forearm, then almost whatever, then he grabs him and then he slips out in the Pele.
It was smooth.
Daniel, it was just smooth, and then right after the super kick, and just it was smooth. When you have 4 talented wrestlers like those guys,
4 of the best in the world,
they're going to put on matches that are great, right?
Yeah, and this also makes me think that the Usos are probably next in line for a tag title opportunity. I gotta imagine that the Bar is gonna once again walk away with the titles, right? And end New Day's little reign here, because New Day held it for so long, and the Usos aren't supposed to get another match against the New Day for the titles, right? So
yeah,
it would.
And the Usos are kind of this not face, not heel team.
They're tweeners.
Between.
Yeah, they're the tweeners,
and they're the best tweeners, arguably, in the WWE for sure. Like, I feel like they're.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. That's safe to say. So you got to believe that probably them versus the Bar would give you some pretty damn good matches. Yeah. So they're probably building them up. I mean, they've got back-to-back wins over the number 1 contender and the WWE champion. That, to me, says, okay, we're next in line for a tag title opportunity.
All right, what happened next?
Yes, we had the Becky and Charlotte segment at the Performance Center. It was awesome. I love this real-world stuff, where they go out and you're not expecting something to happen. You're not expecting a physical altercation to happen here, and then it does. That's a good rivalry when they
what else
fight outside of the ring.
You know what else I liked about it was like the moment when Becky came in. That's character work when they're in there and Becky's being like, "Don't listen to her," and Charlotte being like, "Whatever." That's character work. But Charlotte's little bit at the start when she's talking about evolution and that little thing where she's like, "I'm not going to cry because I already do that enough." And I was like, that's real life. Like that was just Charlotte Ashley being Ashley, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm like, that's funny. Like, cause that's real life. And then the ability to just change into your character like that is just
talent. There's nothing short. It's just talent. And that's what it is. Also, side note, I loved how that class, that group of NXT women that they were around featured some big stars of tomorrow. Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair.
I saw Bianca in the back.
Rhea Ripley, I think, was in there as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Who is fantastic. Huge shout out to her. She's going to be a massive star in the WWE, only 22 years old. Crazy. I think she got signed too, or if not, she's at least around for the Mae Young Classic. But anyways, we that was a good little segment.
Little segment.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to it?
No.
Okay.
Just excited for the match.
Yeah, the match just got me excited.
The first ever last women's standing match for the Smackdown Live Women's Championship.
It's there you go. There you go. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say much on that again, but yeah. Okay, then we had Aiden English versus Rusev. It's unfortunate that this was kind of the blow off, right?
It honestly, it started and I was like, this is gonna be a good match. Oh, it's over. It's over. Okay. It would have been a good match.
Yeah, it would have been a good match.
It was far too quick, and I thought it had the making to be a real good match because Aiden was getting some offense in, and he looked good, and Rusev looked good, and he was angry and powerful. And then Lana threw her shoe, and then Aiden lost, and I was like, "That's the end. That's the rivalry."
I think you and me mentioned this, that we believe that this was probably going to just be a SmackDown feud, and unfortunately I think this is a SmackDown feud, right? Like, I'm all down and for feuds being just on free TV, right? And their culmination being on free TV, especially guys who are honestly really lopsided, like Aiden English and Rusev are. Rusev should tear that guy apart every single time, right? Especially considering Aiden English has never really had a very long, successful run, as opposed, like, with wins and losses, I should say, right? He doesn't have the greatest win-loss record, so on paper, Rusev should destroy him, and he did. So I get that for being a SmackDown feud. I don't know if it's done. I don't know if this is the end of the feud, because WWE likes to stretch things out past their point. This feels
WWE makes it feel like it should be the end, and then all of a sudden it goes for another 2 weeks, and you're like, how is this? I thought the end was 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then all of a sudden it keeps going.
Yep. So hopefully that's it's done, because I've got written down here where Aiden English could be used in a really good role, where he's like a douchey boyfriend of one of, like, the women's superstars, and is kind of her manager. I think he would be in a really good role. Imagine him walking around with, like, a beret.
He's shown that he's a good manager.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a job as a manager who wrestles like here and there. Kind of like Lana, where she wrestles here and there, but she's a better manager, right? I really think, like, if you gave him, like, the beret and, like, that, almost like a French gimmick, because he's not far off from it, right? His artiste gimmick that he had. You give him that back, but then you put him in a manager role with, like, a girl, and he was kind of like her douchey boyfriend. I think that would gain major heat, and he'd be really good at it. Just something, like, there's lots of roles for him. He will find something else to do. He's too talented not to. Okay, we had the match between Rey Mysterio and The Miz. Why don't you talk about this one, because this was your favorite match of the week? Yeah,
it was my favorite match of the week. As yours was the tag title. Yes. I don't know if you mentioned that. The Raw tag, which obviously for many good reasons, seeing it great. Mm-hmm. This one was just mine because, well, The Miz is my favorite, and Rey back, he looks great. They had good chemistry together, both, like, on the mic, just Miz being great on the mic prior to.
Yeah, that Miz TV segment was awesome.
And then just in the ring, it was just nice. Like, it's nice to see Rey back.
It is.
And, like, in full swing, and he looks great. Like, he's killing it.
That little body splash that he does to the outside of the ring, like, how does he do that? He
slides under the bottom rope?
How does he do that? I've never seen anybody else do it. Yeah.
I literally was watching, it was like, that's what? I'm sorry.
It's like, Ray. Be nice, Ray. Man. Be cool.
Okay, I see you, Ray.
He hasn't missed a step, man. Not at all. But I think this match also proved how far The Miz has come.
Yeah.
You compare it to their, what was it? Rey Mysterio hasn't been in WWE in, what, like, over 4 years?
6.
6, was it 6 years? Okay.
First time matching up against each other in
a
probably competition in 6 years.
So is that what it was? First time in 6 years. The amount that Miz has grown in those 6 years is so apparent on the TV.
Oh, it's insane.
And also hearing 6 years ago that Miz was around and a fixture on our television screens is really crazy when you think about it. The dude's been around for a long time. Like,
Miz?
Yeah, he's been around for a really long time.
Since, like, the mid-2000s.
Yeah,
pretty much, right?
The only time
like, late, so probably over a decade almost.
Because he, main evented WrestleMania 27?
20, just 20.
WrestleMania 20. I want to say WrestleMania 27, right? That was him versus John Cena, I think.
Think so.
Because Undertaker, Shawn Michaels was 26 the year before, I think.
5 and 26?
Yeah, 5 and 6. They had back-to-back.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I want to say 27. I could be wrong, though, with that off the top of my head. But yeah, like, he's been around for that long, and he's consistent. I can't think of a time where he's been gone from our TV screens for a very long time due to injury. It's only
even when he's been filming, it hasn't been that long of a gap.
And he cuts promos when he's away filming as well. Like, he keeps himself on TV. He is literally a super, super important part to the mid-card scene, whether it be on Raw or SmackDown. WWE isn't where it is without him.
And he makes titles feel relevant.
Yes,
he's the best. I would say he is the best best wrestler in the WWE at making a title feel important.
Yeah, because like even
highly due to his character work and his ability to speak.
Even Roman Reigns couldn't get the United States title, or what was it? The United States title on Raw when Miz held it, or was it IC title back then?
Well, he's held both, right?
Yeah, I just can't remember what show was on Raw when he held that. Anyways, Roman Reigns, when he held on to that mid-card title, he couldn't even make the title feel like as important as the Miz did, right? So that's a testament to what the Miz can do inside that ring and how good of a performer he actually is.
Yep. So he's my favorite.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple last little notes here, because we had that weird segment with the women where they all just ran down and all just started attacking each other and throwing each other over the top rope. That is not a way to build for a battle royal segment. It doesn't get anybody more over, right? You're just throwing people over a top rope and somehow that's supposed to injure them? No. These are wrestlers. These are superstars. Give us a better build to that battle royal, please. That was just lazy booking. Anything to add on to that? No. Just shakes his head. Same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Also, we had Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy, and as the match was fine, didn't we just get the end of this feud in Hell in a Cell? That's what I thought, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know.
This
is literally what we were just talking about with Aiden English and Rusev, where we think like, oh, that's the end of the feud. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden,
I get it.
A month later, or a month later, you're like, oh, hey, didn't this just end?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I thought
it's
Hell in a
Cell. It's not even like it just. I don't know.
Yeah. I thought Hell in a Cell honestly was gonna be the end of their feud, right? Jeff Hardy swinging down from the top of the cell through a table kind of seems like the end of the feud. But then they just went and rehashed it again, and the thing is, I think I would have been okay with this matchup being a rehash if it had been in the middle of the card. Especially with the all-women's pay-per-view being right around the corner, why is Charlotte and Becky not ending your show? Why are they not on the go-home show at the end of the show? You know, that's, to me, it'd be like having, say, WrestleMania come up. Because this is the women's WrestleMania. If you think about it, this is a massive event for them. This is the first time ever. Huge event. But if you had, say, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns headlining WrestleMania, and on the go-home show you had them in a backstage or a cutaway segment at the 10 o'clock hour, the middle of the show, as opposed to end it, you know, that wouldn't make much sense for your top title. You end your show with your top title going into the show that you are promoting.
Yep.
I think that was a mistake, not promoting Evolution more on the Smackdown side of things.
What do you mean? Just right before it, they had that massive women's thing that did a great job.
Oh. But anyways, yeah, Randy Orton picks up the win over Jeff Hardy there. And final thoughts on the show? Anything else that you want to add? No.
It was good things, bad things.
Just an okay show.
The week itself, great things, sad things. Thoughts and prayers, obviously, and love and support with Joe and his family and friends, aka Roman Reigns, and fan base, you guys as well.
Yep. We want to see you kick out at 2, Roman. We want to see you kick out at 2. Or 1. Yeah, how about just just kick out at 1, kick out right now, kick out on tomorrow, all right? But anyways, folks, I think that brings us to the end of the podcast today. Obviously, Evolution
MVP?
This Sunday. MVP of the week, Dean Ambrose. Come on. No, I'm not. That's a lie. It's got to go to Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I was going to say Reigns. Drew McIntyre if we're talking that aspect.
Yeah, no,
looks great, but
Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
no, Roman Reigns is definitely our MVP of the week. If you're talking in-ring stuff, mine's Drew for the heel turn, but I mean, it's Roman Reigns. Come on. But man, I think that does it for us today. We are going to be live this Sunday with Evolution. You're going to be here. Welcome back.
I will be there. I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a little bit
exciting.
Yep. So we'll get those drinks flowing. Definitely have a few shots, and we'll celebrate the first ever Women's Pay Per View. It's going to be a great time. Make sure you guys are there. Starts at 7 Eastern Standard Time, pre-show at 6. Be there or be square. But with that being said, I've been Con.
I've been Bob.
And that was the Con and Bob podcast.